the float property of CSS. Okay, so I'm taking a reference of this lovely book called CSS Mastery Advanced Web Standard Solutions Second Edition. Okay, this PDF book you can find online as well. Okay, so we'll start. So what is this float basically? A floated box can either be shifted to the left or right until its outer edges touch the edge of its containing box or another float box. Okay, so let's take an example. So what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a div wrapper. Okay, and inside of this I have three other divs, which is box 1, box 2, and box 3. Okay, as we all know that a div basically is a block level element, so it's going to consume the 100% width of its container. Okay, so you can see that this is the container, which is wrapper. So this is a wrapper, okay, and I've given it a width of 500 pixel and a height of 500 pixels. Okay, right. Now inside of this tip you have the box 1, for which I've given it a height and width of 100 pixels each, and similarly for the box 2 and the box 3 as well, I've given them height and width of 100 pixels each. Okay, so you can see that it is consuming the entire width of the container. When I hover over it, you can see that it's showing that it's consuming the entire width of the container. Okay, so let's see what happens when we go ahead and give a float property of left to the box 1. I'm going to go into my CSS file and I'm going to go ahead and give it a float property of left, a value left. Okay, and let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see what has happened over here is that the floated element, which is the box 1, gets out of the page's natural flow. Okay, and if we look back at the reference that we're looking at, a floated box can either be shifted to the left or the right until its outer edges touches the edge of its containing box or another floated box. So in this situation, the floated element has moved out of the natural page flow. So earlier the pages were stacked. If I uncheck it, you can see that earlier they were stacked, these elements were stacked. So the moment I make the box 1 as float, give the property of float left to it, then it moves out of the natural flow and the box 2 and the box 3 will take their position. Okay, so the box 2 has taken the position of the box 1, and the box 1 is actually hiding behind the box 2, and it's moved to the left of its container, which is a wrapper. Okay, so if I had to show that to you, okay, over here. Okay, so if you give a float value of float left to the box 1, it is moving to the left of its container, and the box 2 has taken its place, so it's kind of overlapping the box 2 is overlapping on the box 1. Okay, so that's that. And then if you go ahead and give the float property of right to the box 1, again the same concept applies. It's going to move out of the page's natural flow, which means that, let's refresh it. So the box 2 has moved to the right, sorry, the box 1 has moved to the right towards the edge of its containing element. Okay, and the box 2 has taken the place of box 1. Okay, and if you go back and check the reference, you can see that when you float a box 1 to right, the box 2 takes its position. So box 1 was here earlier, it moved to the right like this, and then box 2 has taken its position and the box 3 has taken the position of box 2. So they have just moved up as if the box 1 wasn't there. Okay, cool. So let's continue on that. Now, because floated blocks aren't in the normal flow of the document, block boxes in a regular flow of the document behave as if floated boxes wasn't there. So this is what I've explained to you, that the moment you give a float to a box, the other elements behave as if that box wasn't there. So they'll just take the next available space. Okay, and And then we'll continue with this. When you float box 1 to the left, it is taken out of the flow of the document and moved left until its left edge touches the left edge of the containing block. Because it is no longer there in the flow, it takes up no space. Actually, it sits on top of the box 2, obscuring it from the view. If you float all three boxes to the left, box 1 is shifted left until it touches the its containing box, and other two boxes are shifted left until they touch the preceding floated box. So I'll explain to you this part. This is what it's talking about, that if you give float to all three boxes, so if I go back to my style sheet, so I had given float property to box 1. If I give float property of left to all these three boxes, save it and refresh, you can see what has happened. They are floating. So the concept that applies over here is that whenever an element is floated, it leaves the page's natural flow, and the element will move. In case if they are floated left, they will move towards the edge of their container, and in the way, if they find any floated element, then they will get stuck to the nearest floated element. So in this case, box 1 goes ahead and moves to the left of the its container div, which is wrapper, okay, until it touches its edge. The box 2 comes over here, tries to go to the left of the container, but since it cannot, since there is already a floated element over here, box 1, hence it's touching the floated element. And that's what it says over here. A floated box can either be shifted to the left or the right until its outer edges touches the edge of its containing box or another floated box. So it will either touch the edge of its containing box, which is here, or another floated box, which is here. Okay, so that's why it is touching the edge of another floated box, because there is a floated box over here. It cannot reach the edge of its container. And similarly for the box 3 as well, it goes ahead and touches the edge of the uh, next available floated element, because it cannot reach to the till the edge of its container. Okay, so that's how that works. And that's what is showing over here. All three boxes are floating left. They have left their page's natural flow, and they're trying to reach the edge of its container, and because box 1 is able to do that, box 2 finds a floated element over here, hence it's touching the edge of the box 1, and box 3 finds another floated element here, hence it touches the edge of the box 2. Okay. Now the next one, if a containing box is too narrow for all the floated elements to fit horizontally. Okay, so this talks about that, for example, if we are giving a float value to all the three boxes, if you're giving float to all the three boxes, however, the space over here is not sufficient for the box 3 to fit over here. So what it's going to do is going to drop down, okay, and then touch the edge of its container. Okay, so if a containing box is too narrow for all the floated elements to fit horizontally, then the remaining floats will drop down until there is sufficient space. Okay, that's why the box 3 has dropped down. Ideally, it was supposed to get stuck to the box 2, but since there is not enough space, it's dropped down. Okay, then if the floated elements have different heights, it is possible for the floats to get stuck onto another floats when they drop down. So what this is saying is, because the height of the box 1 is bigger, box 2 is able to definitely come and get stuck to the box 1, but box 3 tries to adjust over here, but because there was not enough space, it drops down. Now it's trying to move to the edge of its container, but it's not able to because there is box 1 height is larger, so it gets stuck to the box 1 over here. Okay, so that's how the concept works. All right, so I think that's about it for the float. If you have any questions, you can leave the comments. If you like the video, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.